Let's get it. It's over. It's Game Over back with another live stream, and we are back yet again with another one. And we are back with World Gone Mad series, Season 2, Episode 11 and Episode 12, reaction and review, part of Dan Reviews' World Gone series on his channel that he does, and that he has been doing for quite some time, in sickness and in something. I'm not. When I click the video, I'll be able to see the rest of the title. It's only showing me a little portion of it. So I will read that when I see the rest. Quickly sharing it on here. Feel free to show love to Dan. Dan Reviews. His main channel is in the link in the description, so definitely do check him out. Show him love and support. Give him all credit. Feel free to check out his World Gone Mad Complete Universe. Link for the playlist is in the description as well. So definitely do check it out. If you guys are interested, definitely give him all credit. He is making this himself. And it is very good. So definitely give it a shot. So, feel free to give all credit to Dan Reviews and all that. All credit goes to him. And everything like that. Makes awesome content. And I am going to put full focus on this and nothing else. And that is what I'm going to do. So, why is it bringing me to this? What? Okay. What? Open the fucking app. Being retarded as fuck. You know, it's this app with this updates, bro. Always gotta update when I'm doing shit. So yeah, episode 11 is 27 minutes and 37 seconds. And then the finale is 44 minutes. So a little bit lengthy. A little bit. Oh, actually, maybe a little bit less than episode 9 and 10. Because 9 was 30. So, 3 minutes less comparing those two. And then 12 is like 2 minutes. So, roughly the same. Finish updated. Come on. Jesus fucking crazy. Damn. What are the odds that it updates now? Come on, I don't know what I'll tell you. So, subscriber only mode. If you think I'm gonna keep doing this, I'm not. Just saying. Almost out of that, I have to get another pot. So. Oh, I think I get the last of this. Part 2. Come on. God damn, man. Dumb, bro. Fucking need updates at the worst time. Just enough. No more updates. Damn. Just fucking work and be good. These other ones real fast here. That's probably why I wasn't letting me like and retweet. That'd explain it. So, let's try that again. Okay, there we go. Well, that one actually looks fire. quick. things here. Took a little bit more longer than I thought. So, alright, we're gonna get right into it, episode 11. Sorry about that. I'm gonna make something as well, so I'm gonna be listening to it as it goes. That's a little bit louder than I anticipated. I'll adjust the volume as I go.
World Gone Mad, Season 2, Episode 11, In Sickness and in Health, Part 1. Flashback to 10 years ago. Lincoln, do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife, in sickness and in health? Lincoln whispers, I do. We hear the man say, and with my great pleasure, I declare them, husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. They kiss, and we hear the applause. We see it's after the wedding, and everyone is getting together inside of the hotel for the after party. And we see Lincoln and his brother James walking and thanking everyone for coming as they're walking. James says, this is it, big bro. Lincoln waves at people and says to James, I've been waiting so long for this. And it still feels like a dream. James says, well, I'm happy for you, big bro. Anyway, the wife asked Haley if she ever wanted kids. Lincoln says, nah, slow down a bit there, Jesus. I'm gonna spend time with this wonderful wife. Just a few years, at least, before I go doing that. James says, alright, well, whenever that happens, it'll be nice. And plus, Uncle James sounds kind of cool, don't you think? Lincoln laughs and says, yeah, someday. Then Lincoln's sister, named Ashley, runs up to Lincoln and says, hey, been trying to find you. It's time for your first dance with Haley. Lincoln says, all right, I'll be right there. We see James get up on the stage. I want to propose a toast. Well, this is a big day. I remember being here about 10 months ago when Lincoln, Haley, my wife Barb, and myself, and a few other friends were here. He stayed at this very hotel, and we got drunk out of our minds. And Haley said she wanted to reserve this place for today, which was the only available date at the time. We didn't really know what she meant, but even though we all had a pretty good buzz on, later that night, Haley popped the question to Lincoln, and we all knew how madly in love with her he was. I don't think there was even a bit of hesitation. He said yes as fast as he can click on something. It was instant, like he was waiting for this his whole life. Lincoln smiles, and now here we are, almost a year later, and together we celebrate the wonderful life that they are about to have together. So I want you all to raise your glass to the future, Mr. and Mrs. West, and for the journey and the amazing future that is upon them. We see Lincoln kiss Haley, And then we see them have their first dance as we cut to the future.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice, very nice. There's a little flashback there.
In the future, Lincoln and Dave are both sitting down against an old truck, and Lincoln's face is covered in blood. And he looks at Dave, who is sitting next to him, and says,
I remember that day.
Damn.
Sydney is going at 100 miles an hour. She sees Matthew's truck from far down the road. She speeds the RV up. Two of the guys in the back pull out their guns and they try to stop the RV. They don't have any bullets left after the fight, and Matthew is driving as fast as he can. The roads are getting icy, and Matthew has no choice but to slow down. Sydney speeds up the RV and is driving right next to them now. Matthew tries to speed up, and he gets past the RV, but there's deadheads on the road, and he tries to get around them, but then the truck hydroplanes, and they run right off the road. The moment Cindy sees them crash into the ditch, she quickly pulls the RV over and gets out with her machine gun. As the Vipers quickly try to run from the car and into the woods, she shoots and kills all of them, including Matthew.
Damn. Come on, girlfriend. Make it through.
We see she killed all 5 of them, and Matthew is still alive, but he's been shot to hell. We see him crawling on the ground and saying,
You may have won this one, darling, but you'll never win the war.
Cindy looks annoyed and he says,
That's why your sister's dead.
and then Matthew gets shot in the head, and she stomps his head in as she lets out a big scream.
Badass. Badass.
Back at the base, we see there's now a thick layer of snow in the military base. We see Tom walking the streets. We can see his wounds have opened up again after the fight he just had with Dave. His hands are covered in blood, and as it's still snowing, we see him meet up with Lincoln, Luke, and Kezia as she's taking them to a safe place to stay for the night. Lincoln, Tom, and Luke are walking with Kezia, and she says, just down this street. They enter a building. Kezia opens the door and says, hope this'll do. We have food, running water. However, if you use the hot water, go easy, if you don't mind. Lincoln says, I appreciate this. Kezia says, I'm the one that should be doing the thanking, Mr. West. You saved this place. I think you damn well earned your keep. Lincoln asks, you have the room? Kezia says, for you? Hell yes. Now each of you have rooms, or if you want to stay in this place altogether, that's fine too. Lincoln says, well, we really appreciate that. What was your name again, sorry? She says, Kezia, it's okay. We've all had a rather shitty night. Oh, and I'm just saying, there's tequila in the liquor cabinet. Lincoln laughs and says, I'm glad to be working with you, Kezia. And Kezia leaves the three of them, and Lincoln locks the door just to be safe. Tom says, maybe staying together is the smartest play. Lincoln says, all right, let's get through the night. We have a big day tomorrow.
Alright. Kind of smart, probably staying in one room. Playing precaution. Nothing wrong with it. And
We
lock
see Sydney in the RV arriving back at the base. The guard lets her in, and she gives him her gun and says, all done. As she walks away, and the guard seems shocked to hell. We see everyone is asleep, but Tom is still awake. He's trying to sleep, but he keeps hearing gunshots in his head. Fires, death, and every time he closes his eyes, he keeps seeing it on repeat. The next morning, we see Tom wake up and walk into the kitchen. Lincoln says, good morning, sir. Coffee. Tom takes it and says, thanks, buddy. Lincoln says, well, this is it, big bro. Tom says, are you nervous? Lincoln says, well, you and I both know I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. Tom says, well, I'm not gonna die today. My time isn't now. Neither is yours. Tom is about to walk out, and he says, there's no more goodbyes. We see everyone walking out for the day. Lincoln is putting his jacket on. We see everyone loading up at the front gates. Lincoln is loading up some guns along with the other soldiers, and Dave walks up and starts helping. And Dave says, well, this will either be our last day above ground, or we'll be hearing that beautiful sound of death real soon. Lincoln says, nah, this isn't the end. We've got things left to do here. We then see some of the soldiers, and they're saying goodbye to their families, and they are ready to go to war like real soldiers.
W's.
We see Lincoln, Tom, Sydney, Dave, Luke, Kezia, Blake, and over 50 other soldiers are getting in the trucks, and we see Kezia and Lincoln ride in the RV together. Luke and Blake are in another truck, and Dave is in with some other soldiers, and Tom gets in another truck as we see them drive off to go finish this.
Oh, damn.
We see Lincoln and Kezia in the RV together, and Kezia asks, you think we can do it? Lincoln says, and Kezia asks, what we did last night. Do you think this is going to be the end? Lincoln says, I hope it is. Your people are such a help for us. Kezia says, oh, no, they're not my people. Lincoln says, well then, who is? Kezia says, William was nothing but a man who died a coward. Dave has been nothing but a liar and a murderer. And then there's me. I think that these people deserve someone that can lead them through the hard times like this. someone who can risk their lives to keep them safe. Someone who would do that. Lincoln interrupts and says, I'm talking to her. Kezia says, okay, well, you're a leader. How do you do it exactly? I mean, how can you live with the fact that you are responsible for all those lives? Lincoln says, when I first found my people, I'll admit, I didn't know what I was doing. Leading people takes experience. I'm not going to lie to you on this one. It takes facing death, facing the evil, which is what we are all about to do. And you've got to be strong. Kezia looks over and Lincoln says, for your people. Then Kezia stops the RV, and they see from up the hill a massive herd of deadheads.
Oh shit.
Lincoln and them see this from far, and all the trucks pull over. We see everyone step out, and Tom says, I don't think I brought enough tequila for this one. Lincoln looks suspicious and says, yeah, but look at them. They're all lined up across the road, and we've traveled this road last night on our way to the base. Kezia says, someone led them here. Someone's trying to block our way. Lincoln looks down and says, well, geez, I wonder who did that for fuck's sakes. Sydney asks, well, we can't go through them, that's for damn sure, so Blake says, we can try another road. There's gotta be another way to the factory. Lincoln says, nah, we aren't circling around these roads trying to find a way in. We hear Chris saying, they are going to see that herd and they're going to be angry. Anger drives people mad. It will consume them. And they are going to fight to the death and try to get to us. And if we're lucky, most of Lincoln's people will die by the dead. And if any remains, they'll be exhausted. They won't be able to fight for shit. And well, Chris clicks his gun and says, then we will show the Queen how willing we really are. Meanwhile, we see the group is now covered in reanimated blood and guts, and Lincoln's whole group is ready. And Lincoln says, all right, here's the plan. We're going to go in 2 teams. We all have to march with the dead. With all of us, we are going to turn them around, and we're going to bring them right back to Chris's doorstep. Once we arrive, Luke, I want you to take a team in the woods. And I want you and all of them and the snipers, making sure that when the rest of us go inside, you guys have us covered. Now the second team is going to lead them right towards the front gate. Once the deadheads are close enough, we split off from the horde. The Vipers are going to panic. Chris is going to call full duty at the front gate, and he's going to put all those people at risk. When they're distracted at the front gate, I take the rest of us through and we enter through the back gate. And at the most, we'll have to kill 2 to 3 guards, if that. And then when we're in, kill everyone inside those walls. Meanwhile, Luke and the rest of you cover us from outside.
Very good point.
Lincoln asks, so Luke is out. Who's coming in? We see Tom raise his hand. Sydney, Kezia, Blake, and 3 other soldiers, and finally, Dave. Lincoln looks at Dave and asks, can I trust you in there? Dave says, come on, Mr. West. I think you know if I was going to cut your head off, it would have happened by now. Lincoln says, okay, it's settled. Let's go.
You better not. You could wait till the best opportunity to do it, though. And that's why it's questionable.
Later that night,
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Haley is in the cell, and she's just shaking. She looks to be cold, and she starts crying. Chris hears her from down the hall and starts laughing out of joy.
Jeez.
We see Chris go outside, and he walks up to the roof of one of the buildings. There is more snow that appears to be on the way. Alexander comes up and says, hey boss, we were ready to do a quick patrol. Want to run it by you. Chris nods, and Alexander says, cool. He starts walking away, and Chris asks, so how'd it go with the girl? Alexander says, simple. Simple talking to. Just telling her who's in charge. Chris slowly walks up to him and says, do you remember who's in charge? Alexander says, yes, sir. You? Chris looks suspicious and says, wow, next time you go behind my back, there will be consequences. You understand? Alexander says, yes, boss, I won't do it again. Chris then hears his men on the other tower freaking out, and he yells over, what the hell is going on?
Pat is probably going to sell the wall.
We see the herd heading for the main gate of the factory. Chris looks angry, and then he says to the guards, Eric, Josh, what the hell is going on out there? His 2 men and the tower get blown up by Luke.
Damn! Savage.
Luke reloads, and Chris sees this and tries to run off the building.
Huh. Damn, it almost blowed his ass up.
He and Alexander climb down the ladder, and then we see another building blow up.
Oh, damn. Wow, badass.
Lincoln and the rest are inside the herd, and his walkie is going off, and Luke says, Lincoln, you're in the clear. I repeat, Lincoln, you're in the clear. Lincoln clicks his walkie twice, and he and the group let the dead approach the gates.
Oh, shit.
A bunch of Vipers try to run and try to fortify the gates. We see Chris, Alexander, and just a few other Vipers have nearly made it back inside. Chris is angry and he says, those bastards turned a whole fucking herd around. Chris says, we are not sitting here waiting to die. Alexander says, I already sent a group out there. Those snipers will be dead real soon. Chris smiles and says, good. Now while they do that, let's kill everything inside these walls. We then see Lincoln, Tom, Sydney, Kezia, Blake, and Dave, who have circled around to the back gate. We see 4 guards, and they are about to take them out. But then, they get called in at the front gate to stop the dead from getting in. Kezia lowers the bow, and they then hop the fence. Lincoln is whispering, Tom, Kezia, Blake, take left. The rest of you, come with me. Out of nowhere, we hear a gunshot from the distance.
Oh shit.
We see someone hit Blake, and Blake is bleeding out and falls to the ground.
Oh,
Lincoln
shit.
and the others quickly click their guns as Blake bleeds out on the ground.
Damn. Poor Blake. Poor dude.
Luke and the snipers are almost out of ammo. Luke looks worried and walkies Lincoln. Lincoln, are you there? Did you guys make it in yet? Lincoln! The guard tells Luke they're gonna be fine. It's just gonna take a few more minutes. Luke looks worried and has a really bad feeling. And the guard yells, Luke? Luke and the snipers turn around to see coming up the hill a big group of the Vipers come riding in from a distance, and they are charging at Luke and all of the snipers.
Oh shit. Shit. Ah, that's how you ended off on this one. Damn. Wow. Two-parter episode. Sickness and health for Karen. Wow, good penultimate of that episode. 9 out of 10. That's fire. Nice build-up. I liked it. Liked it a lot, actually. Okay, so yeah, so in sickness and in health. So that's what the title. Both episodes are. It's a two-parter finale. Yeah, 9 out of 10. That episode was very good. I like the build-up. I like their ain't that stupid microwave. It does not shut up if you don't open it. It's stupid. I like the characters using the herd to their advantage in terms of like turning the herd on them when Chris thought that the herd would have, basically tired them out, you know what I mean, until they eventually got through, if they were eventually going to get through, you know what I mean, and then be weak and then be screwed from there. Instead, they turned the herd on them and actually kind of backfired on them. But, of course, they are kind of, still kind of turning things around, of course. Which is to be expected, because Chris and his people were crazy. So, that's not really too much of a shock. Damn, Blake got killed. That's crazy. Or at least he's bleeding anyway. I don't know if he's going to die. My guess is he probably will, but we'll see if that remains true. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Love the nice flashback. That was really nice. In the beginning of that episode, very nice. Very beautiful. I like that fact that it kind of jumps forward to kind of explain, with that. Excuse me. And then you get a nice little moment before they actually all prepare to get ready to go to war. So I thought that was really nice. Very good episode for sure. I don't know what you guys thought. If you guys are keeping up with it, your guys' stuff, and yeah, so we're just going to get right into it, episode 12, 44 minutes, so we got a lengthy one, but this is it, the finale, so let's see how it ends. Let's get it. I already know that song's probably copyright, so hey. It is what it is. Probably have to erase that, but that's fine. Not a biggie. If you want the full thing, check it out yourself. Alright, part 2.
World Gone Mad, Season 2, Episode 12, In Sickness and in Health, Part 2. Flashback to when Chris got bailed out.
Oh.
2 months before the outbreak.
Okay.
We see the gates open, and Chris walks up to a car. Someone is picking him up. It's a woman. She says, "What did you do?" Chris says, "Ah, nice to see you too." The woman says, "Get in."
Huh.
Chris is in the passenger seat, and she's driving. Chris says, thanks for getting me out of there. You know, I really appreciate it. I mean, even though I'm thinking about it, really this means a lot to me. She slams the brakes and pulls over, and Chris says, "Jesus, what the hell was that for?" The girl isn't saying anything, and Chris says, "Look, I got busted and I fucked up, but I promise, I'm never gonna do it again." She interrupts and says, "Do you realize what kind of risk you took by doing that? What the hell were you thinking?" Chris says, "She pissed me off." The girl says, "So you stabbed Jen? She's been in the hospital for a few days now." Chris asks, "Wait, you saw her?" The girl says, "I'm her lawyer, dumb shit. She is now terrified of you, and she's gonna expose you when she gets out. So enjoy your time out. You'll probably be back in there as fast as you got in." Chris says, "I almost killed her. She was a bitch. But hey, there's always next time, right?"
He's crazy. Fucking man.
The girl asks, "So what did you do in there?" "Nothing. Just sat there and thought about our next deal when I got out. Talked with some guy in there. He was asking me about what I was in there for." She stops him and says, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Chris asks, "What?" She says, "What do you mean, what? I've told you time and time again to keep your mouth shut. But did you listen? Fuck no. You had to go open your big fucking mouth. Chris says, look, he was a standard family prick. He robbed a fucking store. Do you really think he's much of a problem? The girl asks, what's his name? Did you get that far? Chris says, Dave Miller. But I don't think it matters, because it's a shut up, she says. Alright, look. He's a threat. He now knows what you did because of your stupid ass. So this is what you're gonna do. We'll wait for this guy to get out of jail. Robbery time shouldn't be the worst. Till that time, I want you to find this address. She gives him the address to a house, and she says, it's the guy's house. Chris says, no, I already know this guy. I know his wife. She says, huh? Chris says, yeah, I see her down at the pharmacy all the time. She says, oh, that rude bitch. Okay, perfect. Now, go there tonight. Don't do it in the day, because when you wake up, you'll be behind bars again. Go there, kill anyone you can find in that house, and let me know when the job is done. And on my end, I'll make sure that Jen doesn't say shit when you get out. And then we'll be free. You can go back to work. Chris looks excited and says, all right, let's do it.
Wow. He's fucking mad. And I mean, like, mad. It's insane. He lost his damn marbles.
Chris is at the door and Linda answers. Hi, can I help you? Chris looks all sad and says, it's a pleasure to meet you, man. I'm Chris. I'm here to talk to you about your husband, Dave Miller. Linda looks panicked and says, oh my god, is he okay? Chris says, oh yes, he's fine. I just need to talk to you about some things, just for a few minutes. I'll try to make it fast. She says, of course, come in. Linda says, sorry about the mess. My daughter had a birthday party recently and the house is still a bit of a mess right now. Chris says, sounds like fun. You want something to drink? She asks. Chris says, no, thanks. This will be a quick visit. Linda is talking from the kitchen and Chris says, it's a nice place you got here. She says, thanks. My husband and I were planning on moving to the city, but, well, I'm assuming you know where he is. Chris says, I do. He slits her throat and she falls to the floor and bleeds out. Then we hear from down the hall, Mommy? Chris is hiding in the kitchen, and Kim slowly walks down the hallway, and as the lights go out, she looks scared, and then she sees her dead mother laying there in front of her, and behind Kim is Chris holding a bloody knife, and he says, shh, don't worry, sweetie. It'll be over soon. He stabs the little girl in the neck, and she dies with her mom.
Bro. Damn. That's dark. That made me speechless for that one. I don't got any words. I literally don't. That's crazy.
The next morning, Chris calls the girl and says, it's done. The girl says, okay, come over at my place at 5. We have a lot of things to talk about. Chris says, see you then.
That's crazy, man. What a way to open the episode. What a way to open the episode. Wow.
The Vipers start killing Luke's men. Luke takes out his knife and starts fighting the Vipers. All of his men are dying around him, and before you know it, so many of his people are dying that Luke gets buried in the dead bodies.
Sure. Damn. It's crazy.
We see the guard that just shot Blake is firing at Lincoln and the others. Kezia kills him with her bow, and Blake is on the ground. Sydney has them covered, and Lincoln says, "Oh my God, he's bleeding out. Someone needs to get him out of here, and I mean now." Tom offers to go, and Lincoln says, "Okay, keep him safe." Tom says, "I will." Lincoln says, "Go find Luke and make sure they're all right, and radio back you two when you're safe, okay?" Tom says, "Got it. Come on, kid." They open up the gate and they walk out together. Lincoln says to Sydney, Kezia, and Dave, "We go building the building, and we kill everyone inside these walls. Let's go!"
Well, I'm just hoping that Dave don't backstab you. That's all I'm hoping.
We see all of Luke's men are dead, and all the Vipers are dead, and Luke is crawling out as we see him covered in blood. As we reveal, he's the only one left standing.
Damn, what a bro. Feel bad for the other guys, though. That's a shame.
We see Tom and Blake have made it back to one of their cars outside. Tom says in a panic, "You're gonna be alright, man. You're gonna be fine." Blake says, "Just leave me, man. The only thing I'm doing is slowing you down." Tom says, "No! I'm not gonna let you die. I'm not losing you again." Blake says, "Again?" Tom looks a bit scared and walks out of the car for a minute and remembers that this day, November 9th, was Billy's birthday. And he starts to cry.
Oh. Damn.
But then, he hears Luke limping, and he looks to be badly hurt. Tom rushes to him and says, "Oh my God, are you alright?" Luke says, They're all dead." Tom says, "How many Vipers are left?" Luke says, "The ones still inside."
Damn. At least he's still walking.
Lincoln, Sydney, Kezia, and Dave are running through, and they spot a few Vipers, and Lincoln says, "Get back." They back up against the building, and Sydney says, "We take them. We go up the stairs and we clean house." Lincoln says, "Yeah, all right. Sydney, go with Kezia. Me and Dave, take out the ones in the yard." Kezia says, "Got it." And Kezia and Sydney enter the building, and Lincoln says, "And I trust you got my back out there." Dave says, "I don't know. Do you, Mr. West?" Lincoln says, "I'll take that as a yes. Now back up." And we see Lincoln pull out a grenade, and he blows up the Vipers and says, "It's on. Let's go."
Ah, yeah. Make a promise, back for back. You got my back, I got yours, so. Don't match that. Yeah. I am feeling a little bit bad for you, Dave, because that was pretty bad that your family got killed that way, man. That was. Damn.
Sydney and Kezia shoot 4 Vipers, and they go up the stairs into the main building.
W's.
Lincoln and Dave are mowing down all the Vipers from outside, and then they reload, and Lincoln says, "Go help Sydney and Kezia. Gonna check the area and make sure we got all of them." Dave says, "All right, but if you don't show up at 5, I'll come looking." Lincoln says, "All right, go." Kezia and Sydney are going through the factory, killing all of the Vipers on sight. One jumps Kezia, and Sydney shoots the Viper, and she helps Kezia up and says, "You good?" Kezia says, "Yeah, just a scratch. Let's keep moving."
Holy shit. Holy shit,
We
shit,
see
shit.
Chris in his office saying, "We need to get the hell out of here. This place is already gone, but we won't be." He says to one of his guys, "Nathan, go get the girl," meaning Haley. "We might need her."
Run away, you bitch. You coward ass fucker. And you killed his ass to not let him escape. Chicken shit's trying to run.
Haley is panicking because she hears all the gunfire, and then we see Nathan walk up to the cell door and unlocks it and says, "You're coming with us. Chris is leaving this place, and you are going to be coming with us." Haley starts following him, and then she bites his neck, and blood starts pouring out of his neck. Haley kicks him to the ground and grabs his machine gun and pistol and walks off to go kill the Vipers.
Badass Haley. W's. Wow. What a savage. Good for you, girl.
She's walking, but then Alexander sees her from down the hall. Haley tries to hide behind a wall, and we see her, and we hear Alexander. "Haley? Haley? Don't have to be scared. We're gonna do great things together, you and me. Please, just come out and talk. Things will be okay. I promise."
W's Haley?
Alexander gets shot right in the chest, and Haley walks up to him and looks at him dead in the eyes and says, "Oh shit. Sorry about that, but I can certainly ease your pain. Your leader will be joining you real soon. You wanted to get to know me better? Well, now you do." And she shoots and kills Alexander.
Damn. That shit was funny. That was comical.
We see one of the factory buildings blow. The deadheads look up to see this. We then see only a few Vipers left trying to shut the gate. We see them throwing grenades over the fence in order to take out the herd. We see Lincoln's about to take them, but then, out of nowhere, 3 Vipers point guns at Lincoln's head and take him captive.
Oh no, not Lincoln.
We see this one's a female Viper, and the other 2 guys are standing next to her as she holds Lincoln at gunpoint. And then she says, "You think you won, don't you?" Lincoln laughs and says, "Yeah, I think I did." The girl says, "Well, that's where we disagree. I'm not going to kill you, not now. I'm going to deliver you to the queen." And Lincoln says, "Well, good. I want to meet this bitch. You're not going to kill me. So I guess you're not as dumb as your leader is." Then out of nowhere, Dave, Sydney, Kezia, and Haley come in and kill the last Vipers and save Lincoln's life.
Yes! W's. Ah! Homies. Such bros. And girl. Oh, 2, actually.
We then see Lincoln run up to Haley and hug her so tight. He's crying and he says, "You're alive." Haley says, "I'm okay, baby. I'm okay." And they kiss as we see Sydney and Kezia look happy. And Dave looks at this and looks like he's trying to hold back tears because he misses his family.
Damn. Damn.
It's now about an hour later. The sun is coming up, and we see the burnt-out factory. As Lincoln, Haley, Sydney, and Kezia and Dave are walking in the ruins. Lincoln says, "He got away," meaning Chris. Dave says, "I'm going after him." Lincoln stops him and says, "Not on your own, you're not." Dave says, "Look, you got what you came for, but I didn't." Haley says, "Me neither." Lincoln says to Sydney and Kezia, "I want you both to go back to the truck. Take Haley back to the base." Sydney says, "Of course," but Haley says no. "You both go back. I'm staying. I'm gonna finish this." And Dave tells Lincoln, "I think your woman just made her choice." Lincoln says, "All right." And Sydney and Kezia walk off to go back to the others. And Sydney says to Lincoln, "Give him hell." And her and Kezia walk off.
Wow. Really good.
We then see, as Lincoln, Dave, and Haley are about to go after Chris, one Viper is still breathing, and Lincoln walks up to him and says, "You lost." And he takes out his machete and cuts his chest, and writes on it, "Liar." And the man's chest is covered in blood, and he leaves him out in the cold to die.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that explains the. Alright. That explains the that future look.
We see Lincoln, Haley, and Dave are leaving to go find Chris.
Wow. So that kind of explains that little future glimpse. Man, what a way to end it.
We see Chris, and him and 3 other men have made it out. Chris says, "All right. Someone contact Lindsay and tell her where we are." Then Chris opens up the door to reveal he's at the old abandoned prison.
Oh. That's crazy.
He walks out, and we see one of his guys say to Chris, "We can't reach her." Chris looks angry, and the guy says, "We can make the journey there." Chris yells, "We won't make it! How many times do I have to explain it to you people? We are Vipers. We don't give up." The guy says, "Well, boss, I think calling help to the Queen is giving up." Chris looks pissed, but then Lincoln and Haley shoot 2 Vipers, and then Chris and the other Viper run from the prison. Dave chases after them.
Oh. Yes. W's.
Chris and the last Viper are running through the fields with nothing left but their lives. His last Viper says, "I can't do this. We're done. Chris!" Chris says, "We are getting out of here. Come on, let's go." The Viper says, "No, I'm done." And then we see Dave fire his last shot on the last Viper, and Dave kills him in front of Chris.
W's Dave.
Haley with a knife. They all surround Chris.
Damn. Badassery.
He takes one last swing at Dave. But then Lincoln and Haley stab him in the belly over and over again. Chris is screaming out in pain as he is getting ripped open. Lincoln and Haley keep stabbing him until he falls to his knees.
Hell yeah.
Chris is finally down, and Dave points the gun to his head, and Chris looks at Dave, and he's dying. As he's dying, and says, "If you think I'm gonna beg, you don't know who I am." Dave says, "I know who you are. You're the man who killed children and put their heads up for display just to make yourself feel good. You're the man that turned me against an innocent family man when I didn't need to. You're the man that ruined people's lives and lived so yours doesn't seem so bad. And most of all, you screwed with the wrong family." Chris says, "That wasn't my choice." Dave says, "What?" Chris laughs and says, "You think I'm in this on my own? Really? And I'm the one who won, because I'm the one who filled my purpose. And you're the one with nothing left. And I would do it again." And Dave says, "Well, you did your job. And now, it's our turn to finish what you couldn't."
Crazy bastard.
And Dave shoots Chris and ends his life.
W's. Hey, fucking Lord.
It's been about 30 minutes. Lincoln and Haley are sitting by the truck, and Dave is just walking down the field, and Lincoln says to Haley, "It's been 10 years today." Haley says, "Wow. Not how I thought we'd be spending it, like, at all." Lincoln has a small smile on his face and says, "I remember that day." And Haley starts slowly breaking down and says, I miss them so much." She cries, and Lincoln holds her in his arms and says, I know, baby, I know." As tears come down his eyes.
Damn. Can't imagine.
Lincoln, after a bit, goes down the hill to see if Dave's alright, and Lincoln says, "Hey man, we're heading back to the prison. We gotta get back home." Dave loads his gun and says, "That's good, but I think my job's about done, Mr. West." Lincoln says, "What are you talking about? There's more vipers out there. This isn't over." Dave says, "Look, we both got what we wanted. You got your woman back, and I got revenge for my family, but I just don't think I can walk back in there." Lincoln says, "Hey, off the record here, just between you and me, you've earned your place here today." Dave says, "Thanks, but I just can't, because I know if I go back, he's gonna slit my throat in my sleep, or if Blake lives, he'll do it himself, or Tom will kill me for revenge, or they'll expose me to the entire town. It just won't work." I think it's finally time for me to leave your family alone. After everything we've been through, I think I owe you that. And Dave starts walking away, and Lincoln says, "You won't survive out here." Dave smiles and turns around and says, "I'm sure we'll meet again, Mr. West." As Dave walks away, we see, for once in his life, he looks happy.
Wow. Makes sense, though. I respect that.
A 100 miles away from the base, we see our characters have left the base to get out of danger. With the factory being nearby and a bunch of the dead still around, our characters tried to get out as fast as they could and far away from danger as possible. And now they are staying at this ranch. We see everyone looks happy. We see Blake is alive. And we see they've all set up in a nice place for everyone. We see someone holding a positive pregnancy test. We then see Haley asking this doctor, "Are you sure it's positive?" The doctor named Nancy says, "Definitely. It says you're already 3 weeks." Haley looks overwhelmed, and she thanks the doctor, and then walks out.
Oh. You're pregnant again, I see. Wow. Props to her, I guess.
Tom's out there with the snowblower, and Haley walks up to him and yells, "Hey, you seen Lincoln?" Tom doesn't hear her, and Haley tries again. "Tom!" He sees her, and she says, "Have you seen Lincoln?" Tom stops the snowblower and says, "What?" Haley rolls her eyes and says, "Lincoln, have you seen him?" Tom says, "Oh yeah, he went out on a perimeter check." Haley says, "Okay, thanks." And Tom turns the snowblower back on and keeps working as Haley exits the ranch. We hear Lincoln say, "Are you okay with this?" Haley is crying and says, "Well, we don't have a choice." Lincoln says, "There's no need to worry. We will. We will keep this place safe for this baby." Haley is crying and she says, "But will it be the same?" Lincoln kisses her and says, "Hey, look, it'll never replace them. Not ever. This is the beginning of something else."
Damn straight.
We will never replace them. Haley says, "What about you? Being a dad?" Lincoln looks hesitant, but says, "I'm fine. I'm gonna protect it from whatever else is out there." Haley says, "But we aren't parents anymore. How can we just do this?" Lincoln says, "Take my hand." And when Haley hears him say that, she tears up and takes it. And Lincoln says, "We are gonna be great parents." And we hear Tom from down the hill, "Ah, this piece of shit." And Lincoln and Haley start laughing. And Lincoln says, "I love you. I always will. In sickness and health. Until death parts us."
Wow. I like the callback. Nice. Credits. Wow. 10 out of 10. I'll give it a 10. That was fucking good. What a way to end it. Truly. I was very satisfied with it, though. It was a very good ending. I was a little impressed that it ended pretty nicely. At least that episode as a whole. I'm sure, as I'm seeing that, I believe there's going to be a little extra. But yeah, 10 out of 10. It's very good. Liked everything about it. Swimming. The war was badass. Had a couple close shots, but it turned out to be very good. In Lincoln's favor. Big W's.
We see Chris's dead body, and someone is standing over it. It's Miles. He walkies in again and says, "This is Miles. Please respond." "Hello? Does anyone copy? I've been trying for years, it feels like, for fuck's sakes."
Yeah, Miles, yeah.
We then hear someone behind him say, "Well, why didn't you show up sooner?" Miles turns around and fights this guy. They both have swords, and Miles and this guy keep fighting with their blades. And the guy trips Miles and takes his sword from him and aims it to his throat and holds it there.
Oh shit. Is it Dave?
He then laughs and says, "Rule number 1, don't go out too far from the base. Rule number 2, don't put yourself in danger. And rule number 3, and this is the most important one, don't try to kick someone's ass if you can't kick their ass." And he helps Miles up, and Miles says, "Wow, don't sneak up on me like that, asshole." The guy says, "Deal." Miles says, "Well, it's so damn nice to see you, Steven." Steven asks, "Is that really Chris?" Miles says, "Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I've been trying to tell you people all about on the walkie for the past few days. The factory's gone." Steven says, "What? By who?" Miles says, "Same asshole me and my leader were fighting back in the day." Steven asks, "Who?" Miles says, "The guy's named Lincoln. The guy I told you about. Apparently this prick is still alive." And then Steven says, "Take Chris. Put him in the back. We gotta go."
Damn. Oh shit. Frickin' Miles, man. And Steven now. Huh.
up the stairs to see. The Queen. Miles walks in, and the Queen has her back turned to him and is looking out the window, and she asks, "Sergeant Miles, you're late." Miles says, I'm sorry, Lindsay. I got caught in a really bad storm. Chris and I don't want to hear about it." Miles says, "All right."
Oh, Lindsay.
We see Chris's dead body is just laying on the table, and Lindsay says, "So, Stephen told me when he stopped by that you wanted to talk to me about something." Miles says, "Yes, my queen. This is about Chris." Lindsay takes a small knife and is cutting off Chris's head on the table and asks, "What about?" Miles looks grossed out, and Lindsay says, "Go ahead, keep talking." She keeps cutting, and Miles says, anyway, well, the factory is gone. And well, anyway, I think I know who did it." Lindsay removes Chris's head and says, "Oh yeah, I know, this Lincoln guy, right?" Miles says, wait, how did you know?" Lindsay interrupts and says, "Yeah, Stephen told me he was here earlier, so do you think this looks good here?" Lindsay puts Chris's head at the very top of her shelf. As we see, she has a few other heads up there as well. And Miles says, "Oh yeah, looks good. But, okay, just back to Lincoln for a second." Lindsay says, "Oh, I know. Lincoln was the one that you and your leader were facing back in the day. You didn't kill him, so now he's still out here, and we probably are still gonna have to face him now. So yeah, does that about cover it?" Miles says, "So Stephen told you that too, huh?" Lindsay says, No, I mean, don't get me wrong. You did what you could, and I appreciate that. You were stuck in the cold for a week. I mean, you've been through hell and back to get back here. I know that." Miles looks more reassured, and Lindsay walks up to him and pats his head and says, "But if you fail me again, and if you fail another mission again," and she looks up at her shelf and she says, "I'll have to make room for you up there." Miles looks at Chris's dead head and says to Lindsay, "Understood, my queen. I won't do it again." And Lindsay walks back up to her window, and Miles gets up off his knees and asks her, "So, what about this Lincoln?" Lindsay says, "I'm sorry, who?" Miles says, the guy who killed Chris." Lindsay says, "Oh, yeah, well, Chris made his own decisions, you see. And you sure that this guy is still out there?" Miles looks confident, and he says, "Oh, I know he is."
Yeah, that's a fact, Jay.
She turns around and says, "Well, their failure will be our victory."
That's the end. Wow. Crazy, bro. Crazy. She's a sick woman. I don't even need to know much about her, and I can already tell. She's kind of like the governor. Cuts off the heads, put them in a water case, or a fish tank. Bro, that's messed up, man. That's messed up, man. Oh, that was, whoops. So that was episode 12. And that was a little bit of a sneak peek into season 3. 10 out of 10. Yeah, I'm not changing my brain. That guaranteed a 10 with that little bit. But yeah, that was damn good finale. Wow. Excuse me. Yeah, 10 out of 10. I cannot. That was damn good, man. That was good. Damn good, damn good. What a nice conclusion for Dave, between Dave and Lincoln. I thought that was a very nice conclusion. I was surprised that it went that well. It looks like he did redeem himself. W's. I no longer hate Dave. I respect him now. I do. He's so far proven my trust. At least up to this point, anyway. W's for Lincoln and Haley for having another kid. Anyway, hit me now. I'm happy the other characters survived as well. You know, Tom, Blake, Kezia, great characters. I'm happy they survived. W's for them, and stuff like that. And it looks like he put together a really nice group. You know, a nice community. Excuse me, sorry. It's been a long day. You can tell. Yeah. Got W's for all that, honestly. Oh, badass that Dave killed Chris. That was badass. I like how that kind of played out. That was really cool. I like the triple teamwork. You know what I mean, with Haley. Haley, Lincoln, and Dave. I like that triple work. Triple help, you know, triple work together. I thought that was badass, taking Chris down. Really was awesome. So W's for that. W's for that. Yeah, honestly, yeah. I don't really have any negatives on it. I mean, he took out a lot of Vipers. W's for that. Little minor injuries for Blake and then for Luke, I believe. But not impossible to recover from. So that's cool. So yeah, 10 out of 10, man. Season overall, 9. Give it a 9. It was very solid, very consistent, very good. If I were to rate it, the season overall, if anybody's curious, or for you, Dan. I don't know how many people do season reviews, but yeah, I give it a 9. It's very good, damn good. It really just kept building and building, and it just got really crazy. The darkness is insanity. It's crazy, bro. Especially that flashback, man. That was dark. That was something, man. I tell you what. That was dark. Man. Damn. So, yeah, Chris, fuck that bitch. he definitely was worse than Dave. I was surprised. I didn't think anything could be topped that, honestly, but fucking Chris topped that easily. Without a question. So, that really blew my mind. 100%. So, yeah, that was season 2 of World Gone Mad series with Dan Reviews. Check out his channel and his playlist if you guys are interested and intrigued yourselves. His channel and his playlist are both in the description below, so definitely do check them out if you guys are interested. Definitely do. All credit goes to him. The next 2 episodes will be season 3, Death Among something, and that's season 3, episode 1, and then episode 2 is Humanity. So, definitely excited to continue it for sure. We got some lengthier ones for sure, by the way. So, definitely be strapped in for longer episodes without with the fat jack. 57 minutes for the premiere of season 3, and then 36 episode 2, 43 episode 3, 56 episode 4. So it looks like we're gonna start really hitting those lengthier episodes. It looks like we jump around the 30s quite a few times and the 40s. So that is very interesting. But hey, W's nonetheless. So excited to definitely continue this. It's been an awesome series. Honestly, I think did I rate season 1 rating as a whole? I don't remember if I did or didn't. I think I give it. Give me a second here. I gotta finish this one anyway. I think I give it like a 8.5. Do I give it? Yeah, I give it an 8.5. I thought this just had a lot more like severity level to it. You know what I mean? Like it just was more built and more intense and more insane. But again, not hating on the first season by any means. I think it's a great way to kind of bring in the fold, and then season 2 just amplifies that. You know what I mean? To another level. So, so yeah, that's what I'm kind of seeing. But yeah, season 1 as a whole, 8.5 out of 10. Season 2 as a whole, 9 out of 10. So that's very good ratings, man. Pretty damn good every episode, honestly. Just great. Yeah. Damn good episodes, man. But that finale, you got 10 out of 10. Episode 11, would I give it a 9? Fucking really good. Good way to end it for season 2. So, W season, sure. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below or in the chat. Would be awesome. Would definitely like to know. 110%. In the chat or in the comment section below, that'd be awesome. Feel free to smash that like button if you guys do enjoy. Hopefully you did. Smash the subscribe if you guys are new. Part of the over's more fire content on the way as always. Around the road to 8K. Appreciate the love and support as always. Links for everything in the description, as well as Dan Reviews' World Gone Mad series and his channel, as well as my second channel over his reviews, my Twitch channel over his gamer, and my social media is X, Instagram, Discord, True Social, all that good stuff. Links for everything in the description. Help support the channel as always. Appreciate that very much. Become a member, get extra content, yeah, name it. Link below. All that good stuff. So. Mr. A's is going to call it here. At the end of the road, boys. So, because I do got to go in earlier, and I am shooting to get up earlier though. There is that. So, definitely do stay tuned for that. If things kind of go in plan, then I'm gonna try to do Life is Strange 4 continuation. Tomorrow when I wake up, and then if I wake up at a decent time, I'll try to squeeze in a Hedgehog Bros episode as well. If I don't wake up at a decent time, and it's a lot later to where I don't, can't squeeze in one, but I can squeeze in the other, I'll probably do a Hedgehog Bros episode, squeeze that in, at least to get one more in there, and then we'll kind of plan it out for tomorrow night for Life is Strange. You know what I mean? So we'll kind of move some stuff around because, like I said, I'm not trying to plan anything because you know how things can change and stuff like that. I was shooting to do 4 tonight, but it's all based on like how wide awake I am. You know what I mean? I don't want to try to start it and then pass out. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. That won't be right. So I'm kind of going. I mean, I'm kind of giving the layout like what I'm shooting for, but nothing's guaranteed, of course. Sue me. But like I said, definitely planning to grind the Hedgehog Bros nonetheless. More during the week at least, as much as I'm able to. So kind of jumping around here and there to try to catch up. So that's kind of the scoop on that one. For sure. So we're just going to kind of move things around here and there to kind of make it fit in its role. So it's all based on when I wake up. So that's kind of what I'm going with. But yeah. So in that case, it will be episode 157 that I'll be reacting to for Hedgehog Bros. And that's what that's going to be. So yeah. So yeah, nonetheless, we'll be able to squeeze it in there, and yeah. So yeah, so that's kind of the scoop. Man's gonna get some sleep, and all that good stuff. So, like I said, get some sleep now. Wake up at a decent time. I'm gonna squeeze in the other 2. So that's kind of the goal. Anyways, like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Links for everything in the description. Check it out. Playlist for my reactions will be in the description as well, at some point, of course. So check that out. Anyways, share the channel around. Would appreciate it. Share the content around. That'd be awesome. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Over. Peace. Have a good one, guys. Much love. Stay safe.